Samoa's natural waters are special. Something goes in there, comes out different. Natural Samo water, the taste of nature in a bottle.
Post-traumatic stress disorder is an anxiety disorder that can result from a traumatic event. Living with PTSD is challenging, but learning more about the condition might help you to ask questions and find the help you need. To learn more, visit our website at www.asalliance.co or call 684-699-0272.
Skipper Tuna is the healthier choice for you. It's nutritious tuna flakes, packed in easy open cans. Get hooked on the great taste of Skipper Tuna today.
Walu teimi whaatūlanga ina mo le iloilonga le maota I le pili numela tolus fuluivas fulmalelua. O leo te wala watu ma le whaaloalo I mori mau sa wala wina se tala mai ao I le maota au whaoliori le tato sauninga. Ia whaau pea le te ringa o le malu o le taiao au o le popole. O le a whaau au tato iloilonga I no foa ia wawanoa. Aftai nei tai au fou, al fai manuia mai o le, nei tai au fou le fio le prestene, ma sui prestene, ia e maise ai o le mamalu o le, pai inga foi o le, fono fai tūla fono e senate le nei, foi wha al mai tau, ia nei tai au fou o le tatou ilo ilonga mua le nei o le, nei foi vaenga o le tatou ngā duenga, ia e ala I le tūla fono tau wha aufi, ua iau tau luma tolus fulu iwas fulu marilua. Ia vi ia pele alofa ma le anga lei o le tua, tau au ina o lau tau soifua ma le tātou wola. Iau tau maua I foi le ni tai au fou, tau e foi manuia mai. Ia e mai se la tau sa malanga ma mau atu I le atu nuu o le manua tele. Ia awa le whaelonga ina o le sisi ngā fua I le nei tau sanga. Whaaftai le tua ua toe mōri o manuia mai lau tau soifua. Ia leo tātou toe whailoa I manuia ai. Wai ufo I mala manuia fuafuanga uma le malo manua. Ia e wha whailoa I atu fo I le nei tai au le tala mai o ala ua fionga I loi sili. La ua fionga kwen. Tau ili Langkilde, ia whapea foi le sunga I le lo ia whawhautua le awhionga le Covent e pe on whaatalo sangaina lo urua awe mai. Ia awa se taofi, ia ao se whautuanga mō le tātou tūla whono tau whaofi. On behalf of the Committee of the Whole of the Senate this morning, I would like to welcome the Attorney General, Ms. Gwen Tauili Langkilde, upon the invitation to assist us in examining the introduced legislation in Senate Bill number 3912, and also welcoming also the Chief Legal Counsel for the Governor, and we welcome your presence today. I will say a word of prayer to open our session this morning, then we proceed to the business of the morning. Vi ia lavalo ang le le tua ona o le nei tae au fou e saunia mo I mātou. Iau o ono nei amata mai lava I lo mātou te tai. Le fionga le perestene mo lona sui, whapea fo I le mawalunga o fionga I li sen toto fio I tu malo. O le mamalu lava lea I le nei atu nuu e peona e to fia I ai o tangata malau whanau. Mātou whawhitai ono lo ang le le soifua ma le ola ua mātou maua. Ua mwhai ai ono whaaua wina o le mātou ngā ruanga le nei tai au. Ai mai se ai o I lātou sāmalanga atu I fuafuanga fo I a le whainga māloa manua. Ua toe te liu manuia mai ma mātou wheloa I fia le nei tai au le saunga le mū ma le fia. Whafo I atu le vi inga I lau o fio I mea umalava ma le mātou tār sanga. A wina mai lo nganga pa ia e musu ina o mātou loto manganga ma o mātou mafo fonga a o mātou ilo I tūla fono a wase manuia o le atu nuu maona tangata I le anga I le lumana I pei ona e fina ngaloai. Whapa ia le mātou ngā luenga le nei tae au ia maua le tō whā, ia maua le whāu tautanga, ia pa ia lea tō whā ona o lo fisoasoa ni mai. Mātou te talo ai aini o mātou semani o mātou leo le tua wha mangalo I mātou e ala I le toto tā ua Jesu Kiriso. Ua lātou ai nei tārsanga. Amen. The Senate Bill 12 seeks to streamline the issues that continuously affect some of the appointments or designations to boards, commissions, and advisory boards and things like that for our government, because in the past we've had sort of questions arising what happens to a person when they lose their office. Obviously, it was not such a big problem with the appointed directors, but other government employees who had been designated or appointed to certain boards and commissions by reason of their office seem to believe, and we've had some issues on those matters, that they do not lose their seat on the board because their office expires or they are replaced. So that's the goal of this piece of legislation, and I hope you, Madam Attorney General, and the Chief Legal Counsel for the Governor, I hope you've had a chance to review the introduced legislation, and I will yield the floor to you for any comments, advice, or amendments you wish to offer, or anything with respect to your presence this morning. And I want to thank you for making the time this morning on our invitation to hear any comments or advice that you may have with respect to this introduced legislation. Madam Attorney General.
Ai le I avatu se manatu au wale pili tau whao fi mo lava o na vatu la o whata lofa. A vea ia uwhe masui o ma ua ma le lo ia le ofisa ko wana. E vatu ai le whata lofa man whatu lo I le mamalu o komiti. Whapea foi laua fionga le tai komiti. Whapea foi le plestene a le senati. Ai mai se foi le mamalu o le mauta mawalunga. Ai whawhitai fo I mo le nei awanoa wa mawaisi awanoa tātou te whisila whai ai a wāle nei pili tau whaau fi tāua. E mānaia fo I le manatu a le tai komiti a wāle manatu ina ia taumawhai e whaamanino le mata upu le e whaatula i mai. E whaamanino ia e o loo whai ma sui o komiti po o boards ale malo. A wale lato ngā lue i ofisa taitasi ale malo. Ia whaamanino a uma ona whai o lato ngā luenga whaale malo. Ia ona e manino ina ia ve ese o lato avanoa i komiti po o boards taitasi. Ai ona o le whirongia le tato au molimau. O lea la liliu i le ngangana Peritania. A iei lava ni visili e mwhai ona o Soswani atu ai i le tato ngangana. E mwhai foe ona o liliu. Thank you, Chairman, for this opportunity. And like you mentioned, it is a good intended bill. I do agree that this is a good bill in terms of giving clarity to this issue as to having people serve on boards based on their responsibilities or jobs within the government. My one suggestion would be, however, is perhaps looking at each particular board in the law, and perhaps whether to consider putting the language specifically into each statutory board or section. I took a look at the at a very cursory look at the law, at the code, to see how many boards would be affected by this statute, and I counted about 11. And of those 11 boards, these are boards that are created throughout the American Samoa Code. Of those boards, I think only one specifically states that upon their removal from this position, I think it's either Treasurer or Department of Agriculture, I can't recall, I have it in my notes, but only one of the 11 specifically states once they leave the position of government, they also are leave the board. The others, I think it's just assumed because they are selected based on their position as a director or a member of the government. So my one recommendation, only because it helps to make clear the law, is perhaps whether to consider putting these requirements in each of these remaining 10 board requirements. And I can help with giving the Senate the list of those boards. So that was one, that's one recommendation. The second recommendation, and maybe I'm not sure if this is something also to consider, is that this bill only affects boards that are created by statute. And as you probably know, there are a lot of other boards created by executive order or by administrative rule. So my reading of this bill is it would not touch upon the boards that are created. Well, perhaps it would. It's not really clear, but
you're right about that.
Yeah.
And it was purposely done that way because boards and commissions created by executive order is particularly executive action. And we did not want to cross the line between the legislature interfering with executive actions that may cause a constitutional fiasco, because we believe that whatever was created by the governor by executive order should be subject to his actions. And that was the reason why we specifically did not include executive order created authorities.
And those are my only two comments regarding this bill. But otherwise, I think it is a good intended bill in terms of the giving clarity to this issue. Thank you.
Se whamamana atu mo le paiama o le maota o le mta upulea sa langaina mai e le fionga le lo sili. O le tulafono tau whaofi malana ngangana e fōringa mai e le o awhia ai ia whatonu po o whanatanga whatonu o boards po commission o lai whatulai i lalo le whatonunga whakowana. Ia o le la sa o talia tu ia i sao ia. Ai o le tūlanga na sa iloina fo i le vāo o le tātou ofisa ma le ofisa o le tātou lo ia. Ona a whai tātou te tuuina ia i tutonu ia tūlanga na e iai le a wanoa o white na i ai le tātou ngā luenga whai tūla whono. Mamata whai o ia ko wana e whai e ia na ia whai unga e ala ia na whatonunga whalau i tele. Ia le mea na e moni ia sa e leo awhia ai tūlanga ia ai sa whaide whai unga e awane i tuuina ia ina i awane i maua se white na inga le vāo le whono whai tūla whono ma le ofisa o ko wana ona o le whaatapula aina o le tātou whea ia i lalo le whaavai i tūlanga ma oti ma la ma oti o le malo. Ia e leila se me o ia wa o mea na ia whaatura i al kovana e mwhaia fo into e whaata ape al kovana ma suia na ia tangata fau e mana o iai e le o atu iai le tātou puleanga whaitula fo ni tūlanga na wa a whaia e whaatula ia le authority e mwhai fo ia into e whaata ape mta au fi mwha uma ia o le mea lana lena kau whaapula ia ina ia malama le ia le tātou mota I le matau puna langa ina mai e le fionga le loi sini. Go ahead.
Whawhatai lava for the opportunity to speak to members of the Senate. I appreciate the opportunity and the invitation. I too share the Attorney General's position that the intent of this bill is well placed. I think anything to make the boards and commissions responsibilities of the governor more smooth and more clear is beneficial. I'm going to make a couple general statements that may be obvious and not a big revelation, but you know, American Samoa, due to its size, has it's more a municipality, not even a large municipality on the mainland, and has all these responsibilities, not only mandates from the federal level, but also the responsibilities that states of great size must fill, and additionally, the responsibilities like immigration and customs that states and municipalities don't have to do. So it is a challenge for the island to fill all the necessary expertise to fill these great responsibilities. And it's amazing, and it must be due to the density of highly qualified and intelligent people here in American Samoa, but it's a challenge. And filling boards, I had the responsibility in Washington State of filling their boards and finding in a state of 7 million people, it was challenging to find qualified individuals who were willing to spend the time to in many cases, nearly all cases, to volunteer their time and share their expertise with the government on the myriad issues of governance. So just wanted to start with that general comment of one of the challenges that American Samoa has with fulfilling these the responsibility of boards and commissions. It is a large responsibility for many states and territories. The National Governors Association spends a considerable amount of time advising on how that can best be done by the states, what best practices are. So it is no small matter, and I appreciate the Senate's attention to the issue. I also have a couple specific recommendations. One, the term resign. This is nitpicky, but they aren't necessarily resigning. They're being moved off the board, terminated from the boards. So maybe removing, something like that. On definitions, and this is something that the Attorney General, I believe, addressed in her comments, 2A, where it defines what a board is. It talks about appointed by reason of their employment with the government. And I imagine the folks that drafted this legislation struggled with that phrasing a great deal, because that is kind of the crux. Because we have the limit of expertise, what we are appointing in some cases, I know members of the FONO, for instance, to boards and commissions due to their expertise and knowledge in the community. So defining, that's a tricky one, and I don't have at this moment a great recommendation for how we define that reason of employment with the government.
Well, the reason for that is in some of these boards, I'll take for example that comes to mind, the Development Bank. By statute, it does say one member of that board has to be a member of the Senate, and another member, I'm not sure about the House, but it's designated by law. So that gives the president the right to designate that to the governor for his appointment to the board. So when that person's term ends, this is what this new law does say. If the appointment to the board was by reason of that office he holds, then as soon as his term ends, that the right to sit on that board ends as well. That's our reading, and that's the proposed language. Do you find any issues with that, with the language as proposed?
So if I may, so the circumstances, and I hesitate to use hypotheticals, but in this case, I think it's necessary. If the governor has an advisor that is looking into health matters, and they are appointed to a board or commission relating to health matters, is that person appointed due to their position in the government, or is that person being appointed due to their expertise as a health professional? If it's the former, then the suggestion made by the Attorney General of going into the specific statutes that create the board might be a more efficient way of carving out, so there's no confusion about people from within the government who are appointed to boards and whether they were made, whether that appointment was made.
It also applies to directors. Some of the directors sit on certain boards because they are the director. It's not discretionary to the governor.
Right.
But people who are not, the law does not specifically carve out that office, but are appointed by the governor on his own. I don't believe that is covered by this statute, because their presence was not because of their office. It was only by appointment of the governor.
Right.
Unlike the ones that do sit on certain boards because the law says he must.
Right.
So that's the distinction that we've sought to do in this legislation.
Okay. And the one.
And and sometimes I'm kind of sad that you kind of draw in this thing about not having enough qualified people or competent enough people. That's sad for me to hear you say that, because I don't know if that was meant to be like members of the legislature. They may not be highly qualified people in your view, but as long as they sit as a member of the Senate, they are qualified by the law. And for you to kind of bring that up, that it's a struggle for the government because there's not enough competent people? Is this what I'm hearing from the governor's office? That this is a concern?
I understand your comment, and I apologize if I left that impression.
It is clear. I think that was you not only mentioned that once, but twice, and maybe 3 times in your presentation, and I'm sitting here listening, wondering if this is truly how you folks feel about us here in the legislature or other people that are appointed to by the governor, for that matter, because he feels that they are qualified and good people to serve.
I apologize if I left that impression. That was not my
You
intention.
clearly did. You clearly did.
I'm sorry that I left that impression. That is, I meant to make the comment, or I made the comment, and I wish I would have highlighted it more, is that it's a testament to me, to the people of American Samoa and the leaders of American Samoa, that you fill and meet all these requirements due to just such a small population to build from. And
Yeah, which does not make us a municipality, as you said, because if our country here only has 60,000 people, because that's all we have, it's still a country. And the fact that we operate our government in similar fashion to any other state in its governance and things like those, and your reference to saying that we should, perhaps we should consider ourselves a municipality, a small municipality, that's kind of degrading.
I apologize that it was came across that way. I should have thought.
No, I think you meant to say that. You didn't just blurt it out.
What I meant to say, well, I guess I said what I meant to say, but the intent was not to demean. It was actually to provide respect.
There's no other way to take it but the very, very demeaning from coming from you, representing the governor.
I apologize, Senator. And I have nothing but the greatest respect for the members of the Fono and for the members who serve this community and this government in so many ways. What my intention was to honor how much more effort it takes to fulfill the panoply of responsibilities that are required by this government.
This place is full of competent, smart people,
I haven't
and
seen
there shouldn't be that problem unless you don't belong to the governor's gang or party. Then it makes things up. But this country is full of very competent, well-educated people.
that is exactly.
And I think you should go back and inform the governor that we don't believe there's a problem in selecting people to fill offices, boards, and commissions, because American Samoa is full of well-educated, competent people.
Well said. Thank you, Senator. I apologize, and I will certainly extend that message, and also apologize. That was not my intention of my message. It was just one of the challenges that I see us facing as a territory, and again, I apologize. Meant no offense, and certainly no disrespect to the people of American Samoa, who I've found to be nothing but intelligent, respectful, and highly capable in everything I've seen them do.
Then your office shouldn't have a difficulty finding people to occupy positions that you need. I will now open the for questions from the Official President. Sauno ia pe ai se siri mo le tatou mori mau.
E se whamamlama le mai lau fionga le pidi nei. O ngumi a koa ama kou. O sa onga le pidi ngai a kura i melorko wanga fōu o e umalo serve reports and commission automatically ngo is resign.
E ai, o le anganga tu la fono whapea a whai o se tangata pe o le whateta ingo se director. O le director ua o lai sau tono tu la fono o ia e nofo i tono o se board. Ave la a e whaamuta ko vana le tofi director. Tu sa lava la pe whainga luenga pe le malo a wale o toi director wa adu ese ma le board. A o ele director fo o ia na tau ave ina le board na pe fo i o tātou. A whai e tofia se tangata se sentoa i se board i le luata usanga uma le term. Ia a uma lalonga term i le taimi ua whaamuta ai ua mawhai ana o te tau ana tūla i ese. Ai a whai i toi whaawau ele adu ese lava i le tūlanga lea. Ai a whai o whiriwhiria se sui fōu. Ia ona mawhai lea ona whaamuta o le lea tō whinga. O le winga na o le tūla whono. Ina ia awane i eile white na inga lea sa tupu talo i nei i seisi o ai fo i o tō whinga sa whai i le tusa o le awha o le term. Ia u whina mai lolo tangata ele i umalo term langa lo term e whatau sanga. Ia au le o to e nofo le ofisa le na mafua ai o na alu i tonu. Ia la lea lana i eile white na inga. Ua musul tangata adu ese au le te maualo na tō whinga. Ua te tau na tūla i ese. Ai taluai la, ele o iese nga ngana whaapea i le tūla whono. Ia ua iei lo le whinaunga nana alai o na tau mu whai e whaatūla i ese wha malosi i le sui lea. Ona ua adu ese ma ngā lua ngā le malo. Ai musul adu ese ma le port.
So, let's take for an example of a pela o le asina.
Yeah.
Lea sa ele director of public works i asina. Lea lau tūla i merko ana fōu. O lea ale mea iai, e alu ese.
Taluai ona o tō whinga na ele o whale o sina. Ai o le director of public works.
Okay.
O lona winga o ai o sui tūlanga i le tofiale o le director of public works. O ia na te whaawau tō whinga.
Alu ese la ia.
Alu ese whale o sina.
E wala ku director fōu, mala. Pa fel tangata ele i expire long a term. For an example, whinaunga len whinaunga ngel ko vana whai merilei. Ele board ar whalmai. Tu siakul ko vana tauna submit umala ko resignation. A submit a resignation nga ka oila la running ar whalmai. I koe ngā menga kaunga clarifying i le mamra manga le kumu. Wa le pore running a o esengela ka oila running. Ke fe mesfa mamra kuenpo.
Ia, whawhitai lava na whionga Prestene mo Fisili. Pau lava lau so atu in ta upu lea. Pēla o lo saunoanga i le whanma. Ia e foi maisi boards te itasi. Pau ala so swani po sau pautuanga. So swani atu ai le mta upu. E tangtanga i board te itasi o loo whaatu la fono. Ma wha upu i to tono o la tōtu la fono wha vai. I el wha upunga lea wha pia a umalo lo nofo inga. A umalo ngā wenga le na tōwhia ai oe. Ia, o na tūlai ese lea ai se is tōwhia mai e tō wana po wailawa e tauna tōwhia ai le ni tangata. Ia tōwhia mai se si tangata e whaia lo awanoa. O tele o malamalama tele lai le tōwhinga lea le LBJ. Langa o awha apea o whaipule le o whai ma sui ale LPJ ona o lana tō whinga wha whaipule. Ia o lai lava o lo whaipule. A whapea la e alu ese. O te au wai i le manatu lea, a whapea alu ese. Ia e te tau whoi ona su ese si whaipule. Ona o le ngangana lava na o le whaupunga o le tū la whono. mau te loa ole a whape ole manatu ole tula whono lea. E ma oti lava i boards mo commissions o laisa wai ona o lo tofi. Ona o lo tofi whainga o lo nganwenga. Ai e leo manino pe umalore tofi. E tauloa ona e tula i ese. Pe ole langanana ole tula whono ina i wha manino. A umalo tofi e tauna e alu ese. Ai pau lava so swani atu. E mānei e fo i pe a tu whaapunga ngā i whaavai te itasi o board te itasi whamonmon. E lale, no, toi ti tilo i o notes le no tala no atu e mua mua. And the one board in the statute that I was able to find is the American Samoa Criminal Justice Planning Board. And in that board, it specifically says, should any member cease to be an officer or employee of the unit or agency he is appointed to represent, his membership on the board shall terminate immediately, and a new person will be selected. And that commission is made up of members of it's different elected members. So there are specific government members that are on that board. So that would be my suggestion, is to whether to consider putting it into the statute itself. But ole ngangana nga ole that's ole pe ole mafuanga na ole pili e mana e foi le manatu ina ia manino. That's right.
E te tonu e tauna i enwhai pule boards and commission.
Well, I guess I'd have to answer that depending on the board or commission. Ale manatu ina ia yes ne imewa yes conflict ile ngadwenga le faipule po le sentor ia male board or commission. I think
What do you mean conflict?
Because ale oversight ale senate po
So is a conflict le vao Kennedy malonga uso o Kofi Abe Attorney General. Was that a conflict?
E whaintau na tali atu le fisiri na, but...
Ia le menga lea lengo fisiri ako lea le conflict pe a ye whai pule le boards and commission. Le lea lengo fisiri ako. Was there a conflict between Kennedy and his brother? He appointed him as an attorney general?
Maybe. It depends. Ai ese case e tula I mai ai le e winga I le presidente. Ai ne mewa le mawhai le attorney general na prosecute pe whai le ngadwenga ono le lava.
Tia le upa lea conflict lea lengo kau kurkuri ako.
Yeah.
Sa kula I mai kongi olam kau ese sa kofi whaoa e vea ma keo kupe. Sa ese conflict. Akari e no. Nanga ave e whaku kuanga o la ue me whape. Pape ngā fwoi la whono. Papai sa wanga kongi ola len sa wanga e palangi lea. Ia ka uma e o ma koe lea ngā waa whai puli. Ele anga vale ko doesn't sound good to me. Pai fa kai ak ngolo sa ngo ku ka ku ye. Ole mo ka ngena mo ka le kumu ka ka ngisi ku lo ola ko kumu la ba. Langa sa ngo me ap de ko vangan makaranga. Kar ku nga le mga oila ko ile ka ko en foi pule posen commission. Ile hikir ka ko malo. E alanga I o whai pule sosang. Sosang in whaungar kako malo ni. A propo mi whengai mar kako malo. Lai kiki kere malo a propo whai propo ma nation ki kele. A re kau sosang ia kuli whono. Kiki kar kongura kaunga I whono, ngisir whono I. Posen commission kwen.
Whafkai lava mula saungoanga. E ia board pe ano whai atu. It depends ai le board ma commission. E ia boards ma commission o lai whama oti mai. E ia sui o le whono e tau na tofia I boards ma commissions. Ia, e tau la na ilo mta upu na a whapea la pe se whataitaina. A ia se ono o le ngadwenga tā ua o le whono. I le lato oversight o boards ma commissions ma agencies taitasi. O ina e yaisi no popo lenga I le vale paula na o sosoani atu ta upu dea paftai.
Well, it's a common appointment like myself, Kongiola, T-Pass. I'm the retirement. Pui kau whai pui kupil di kaya. Kaya la, isa whai ngan. Papa pero whai merkula fo.
O positions ia e le o whaatula whonuinga ai o tō whinga patino ala ko wana ia. Le winga na le fisile tu ai le presidente.
Pe iei la se a whaina. E whentanto e whaatu sa o whamtalanga lana lewa umanto pia loa pionga. Ai paulava nao sa o so swani atu mta upu. Ina ia ilo e le lana o sui ia o loo iei le pēla o loa fionga. Wo umanto fia, wo umana pāsia i te tono o ilonga le senate, pāpea foi fono. So, e whentanto e whaatu sa utala i mta upu dea. Ai paulava sina fsoswani atu. Ia mo le lumanai. Po le a e e tō fionga. Pe iei la se i le vala leo o le oversight responsibility a le fono. Ia masui nei, pe iei la se conflict or concern. Ia a whapea le ai. Ia pe la le mele wo tula i mai. Ai pe ano whai atu e whentano tō e whai atu so tala wo uma o na whai tō whinga nei. Laftai.
It's a great political answer. Yeah, so you feeling out?
That's what I've not. Ni tula o whionga te komiti ma tula o tata o i le longa. A tala fast for i la o whionga le lo i sili a ma pele council le no i ara whionga le ko wana. Council chairman already voiced some of the issue that and hearing what you have in your response to the chamber this morning. I know you already responded, and I don't need any more response back, but I'm going to tell you how I feel. I'm kind of feel different this morning when you start talking about what's going on within the government and some of the stuff that we mentioned this morning. As you look around this circle over here, we have a former governor sitting on the Senate, two presidents of the Senate been here, judges, and some lawyers, and some doctors over here, and engineers in this chamber here. I feel real small when you start talking like that in this chamber. I am a retired military, U.S. Navy. So was the former president. He was a retired from the Army. We control many, many people under our control. We will serve. I served 20 years. And I think the former president of the Senate probably served more than 20 years. We all educated people are sitting in this chamber. We're in charge of our village, and counties, sitting on this chamber. And don't you ever come here and talk like that in this chamber. I feel like this when you start talking like that. All this issue that we're talking about this morning is because you guys are not doing your job. This is already set in the law. We are in the 7th month of your administration, and there's so many boards has not been fulfilled. It's not filled. Why? Because you guys are not doing your job to help up the government. That's your job. Look at the boards. There's a lot of boards that's been vacant. We cannot just say, you go home. Who's going to run the government? Who's going to run all those agencies? Who's going to run it? I don't need your response, okay? You already respond to the chairman. I appreciate what you said, but I'm sorry I have to tell you. I have to get it out of my system. Now, whionga ale Luisidi. Now, if I phone the pili, ne tai au ta ua pili. O le foi e tau mawhai ta mao le atunu. Ina ia tau mawhai. E wha sao ni isi o mea ua tau wa ai atua le folo ai le whainga malo mo le alunga ilum. pauasi na pole titi a mea ia. Ina i te ua tu e tele atu mea wa tili aina le roa o tau pole an mea la fai. Ai mana o mia le fono nei. Le fatu ulanga mai ngā ruenga wa umana tu pepa. Le mana o mia le fono nei. A mai boys, o a mea taun fai, wa ele mfai o tona, just ele oko meki le kako pailake, ele kako valere le aru kemi ngai. Somebody should be on hell. And that is one of your duty. From the mole rawa whionga ko ale loia sili. Aua ki fefe fai unga mai ale kui per ko vanga. What is need? O oe o le legal advice ko vanga. O oe ale main. Po ai lava e fai ale tunga pautua ko vana o lawa whionga lava fa longo taunga fa longo tasi e ko vana I me umai fai. Take some time to read through all the paperwork and all the stuff that needs to be done. Please, you know. Ole tatou pili lau sunga ale ate taifono pawa so papopotu tatou pili ni te ia ua o alu pili pasia ia tatou nga mautou langa e taufo tatou baba ai I tatou pili individually board chair o a mele spell out mai ai ni te ua conflict le individual board nga mele dictate mai ia man tatou mele auli intent pili nei ia le uma fam la matou le fionga te committee le mina monia na pili le I fa faingo fia isi ngā ruenga I to te mine. Ia ona I upuna watu, le hafoi se mamafatus fam talanga nei tai au. Ia malua wai fale. Le aio mātou nei nofo atu, o te mao le atu nu. E batu fautuanga I au whionga a loe sili. A wāle so swani malosi tu langa o tatou whainga malo. Ia ona I upuna nei tai au, ta yasu le noa.
Ai sa noa, ia lau whionga tu mai tai. Sui malu e lai punua.
Lau whionga tu whanua. Foi le whionga presidente whatalo whai I mo mau nei fui tai au I ti malo swatau. E whaftai atu I lau whionga I le tai komiti. O le ema malama le sa whapupula mai e le o mamla mai le nganga. Le language o le au tatu tula fondo. Paulana wa u tulu pesa o I le whalogoloko. O port member ia le anga point. Ma poino no lako position. Le pe fa pula yai. Au le mele e tau fina welo ma fa pe fa no fa popopela mele ta o le fionga presidente. Le lawa ele expire le for le term o le port member. Ai le ngatia e ele mele na mai lunga official ko vana va pe o tau na fa ma vai. E kusa lo pula fa ma vai ma terminate. Afa pe fa ma vai o le mo fa ke fa ma vai le ka wel fan ba le la il mena te tau ona pe ma fai ona ofia I to tonu o tu la fono le pe ona o mai le ngata le wa sa o le atu la fono wa tau te le uita ngata mo muso ese a le wa manino tu la fono e o lo te mi wa le to fia o el position not been appointed again. So your position in a board member should be expired or might as well, in other words, terminate. So, ola ulaf sili, tangata lea wa, ele expire. Ele expire long term. Alewa a maile whaadinga, wa mana awe, afo terminate we, pe arua pese o ma to finger. Ola sili, and therefore if you maile, o la malosi o lo ia nei tu la fono le nei e me fai ai la fangale so fa la fe ko vana pa pe wa mana ko vana fa termine fai le port member friend mai te mana o la suyo o la malosi o lo ia ina ele expiring but this term is not expired but he is been appointed because of the position he's a representative o la se Pio ke mga oba fa pe mo sa va no lo fionga te komiti. Ele ono merle.
Salo le to finga le fal mai e fa ngo fien fa pula. Ole tusial ko vana. Tal sanga I ala to ye tonal board. Tal wayo na e foula na no fo inga. A fa ai fa ma vai ese mai ma le board. Ai se I tofia tu ia se board fo. If soani mata upu ia. I lo ula I roa o le tūlanga na e whaalangolangoa e whaaiunga le board member ia. Pe a whaia i umalonga term. E eila i le mela len tupul whal mai. O te iloa o le li len tai komiti o ai fili. Ia ele i umalonga term a ua manatua ia talia le tarsanga al kovana. Leana alaina wha mawai. Ia o le sunga ia Allen, le whaipule, ele i umalonga term, manatu ia, e fia nofo pēr ia le board, leana a mailan whaadinga al kovana. Ele i umalo term, o te fia nofo pēr, mai o te lefa mawai. Pe o le whapulanga manino na o le tūlanga lea. O le tangata ia wa umalonga term, se vanga na aida o le whalmai. E ele whaupunga lai to tonu o le tula whona o le whalmai. These board members serve until replaced. Until replaced. E whato a whaila le suinga, pe a umauna au mai o le suafa fōu, wha nia le whono whai tula whono, o nā lulole o le tangata le nāta au awele ngā ruenga, ai alu ese le tangata tuai, ua umalonga term. O lona winga le whampulanga, tu sala pe ua umale term o le tangata, o le tūlanga lea na ngaosia le tūla whono, ina ia aua ne i iaise whawhita auli i ngā luenga le board mō le whanmai. Ia iai pēr se board e whaaua wina ngā luenga, se i o le teini ua whaiaile whasuia inga, ana alu ese leo tangata ua umal term, ai nofo ai le tangata fōu, le ua uman tō fia. O le ngangal tūla whono le tūlangal nā, awane i motu sia ngā luenga le board. Ona ua uma terms. Le mela nā le nā laintu ia o le ele na o le board nā le whalma e iei fo isi tātou board o lo i ele wha upungal nā. E serve until replaced. Ia ona o le ngangal nā ina ia awane i eise tūlanga whaapea. Ua uma terms o le awali i leo ese loa. Ai le ese quorum al board. Iona, le mawhailo leo na whai sa ngā ruenga. Ia le ngangala nā o le whaapunga nā le tūla whono. Ina ia whaaua wina ngā ruenga. Se ia o ina whaile whasuia inga. Hei. Ia, lau a whionga. Sui manu mai fō.
Kai komiti mo le wanoa. Ia, o ke whakalofa foi whakulol pa i o le moka. Whakalofa kul mo le mau, lau whionga le o i sili, le zefo le council. E kuri loa lau sili le saunuanga le whionga le preskengi. Lenga mention, when you mention the Sfulmal Kasi policy affected the pili that's created by statute. Lenga mention Sfulmal Kasi policy affected the pili. Pe saole.
There's at least 11.
At least 11.
There might be more. I didn't catch the LBJ board in that list, but so there's more than 11, but there's at least 11. And these are boards, o boards ia, o laesa, waile whaupunga whaapea, o sui o boards, o lae whaamalau mai, o sui o boards, onga o lako ngadwenga i le malo, pela le Director of Commerce or Treasurer. So there's about 11, if not more than 11, that are specifically identified as members based on their employment with the government.
Okay, whaftai pe mawhai ona lumanai pe whainga maua se lisio ka kou policy o lo ilalo o le affected by this bill. O le self-sili kulia kusa noanga le whionga le Presking. Because you mentioned oversight i le policy of commission. Because o ke fia o le ke fia malmalama pe is there a problem for any issues or concern from the past i kangaka i assign aku pela o faipule ma i a whionga senkoa. Is there a problem i wakupu it seems to me foi le waka mwhai le malo e ave se umai i al fonga whaikula fonga o maporti. That's my take on it. O lea ke fsile kwai. E po ese mea o kupule. Is there any concerns and issues il mele o ke fia iloa? Le mafuaanga o alainga mga ole whionga le kovanga i ave se umai a awange ko i aise fono whaitula fono i kongo ports ngi.
Salo pela atu le avanoa I le loia le ofisa kovana I tali atu le fisiri lea pe yeise mafoanga alaina yeise manatu ar kovana pen saunoa ia le presidente e awane toe awai o te leo malamlama tele I le saunoanga tovana ai pe o ni saunoa ia le presidente ina awane toe tofia ia nisi o le fale fono faitula fono e fai masui o le o boards ma commissions. And just to clarify, the question is from Senator Olo, whether or not the governor has a concern or issue, and what is that concern or issue with appointing FONO members to be members of specific boards or commissions.
Thank you, Senator. That is a good question. It has been a matter of discussion within the office on whether that is the policy or a guiding principle, but just to be fair and open, that has been a topic of discussion, that there are those within the administration that believe it's a conflict or a duplication of viewpoints to have members of the FONO in positions on boards and commissions that aren't designated for that purpose. For instance, there are some, as you know, like ASGRF, that the retirement where there are specific representatives from the FONO, or a CETA that says, there is a representative from each chamber. But that is not a hard and fast policy, has not been made official in any way. Hopefully that is a direct answer. I also just wanted to say one thing relating to the, obviously my Samoan is, to say is bad is an understatement, but tracking some of the discussion about placing some, about these positions, where are they in their official capacity. I did think of a specific example of Terry Van Eaton, who was legal counsel, deputy legal counsel in the Lamanu administration, was on the ACETA board. And his contract was not renewed at the end of the Lamanu administration. He moved back to the mainland, but remained on the ACETA board, was asked to resign from that position. And my question is, would this legislation have removed Mr. Van Eaton from that board, given, is it the intention that he would have? And I apologize, that is not a direct response to your question, but again, I have it's challenging sometimes for me to follow the discussion.
On the senator's question, these kind of ad hoc discussions in the governor's office and the administration about the attitude towards the presence of legislature members on certain boards, does that include legislative members who are placed on boards because of designation by the statute that creates that board?
Senator, no, that's not the intent. I've heard no discussion of removing the requirement, the positions where there's a requirement that's a representative.
Right, yeah, because it's one thing for the governor to appoint legislative members, but it's something else that members are appointed to a board because the law says one member should come from this chamber and one member should come from the other chamber in that board. And that would require statutory amendments.
Absolutely agree.
Okay.
Thank you. That's all. I don't have any further questions. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
Haftai. Ia, masano o leo to ia inisi fisili. Vela o leo e whai masui o le fiatu al presidente, ma le malu tamai o le atunu. Mo le atu whaftai tele lau fionga lo isili, whauno ina o lo teimi tāua. Ia soa ni mai le mote lan ngā luenga, whaftai mo whautuanga manino, whautuanga tamai, o ta oto mai lu mo le moata, ia whapena fo ilo sapsapaia o le anganga le tūla fono, ina ia tau whaa. Manino ia tūlanga, ma tāo fiaini fe ese inga, i le taimi o fesuia inga o nofo inga, i le whatau teia o le tātou malo, whaftai tele lava. Ia, o a foini i whelafo inga i le neita eao, ia mo le atu le whaftai, o le sai ma le whapalepale, ia, o a foini la ngona e watu e tamai o le atunu, ia, o la ngona lava e whaavai runga o le tau mwhai, ina ia whaia le ngā ruanga, ma le toa, ia, ma le anganga, mō le anga i lumo le atunu, ia manuia. Ia manuia tele, ngā ruanga lo whenga iai, ia le whautuanga masani a le fono whaitula fono, ia tautua nāu tau tiut, whai ma le alofa i le atunu, whai ma le amia tonu, ina ia saunga le mūle, le sao le malo, whaftai atu i le whionga le kovana, mo le soasoani mai fo i le awina mai o lona ofisa, ia e langolango ina le wha moe pe an whatārsanga ina le tai au. Soifua.
Ia, whaftai lava i lawa whionga le teitai komiti. A vea ia o e whai masui o mā ua le au mori mau. E mamoli atu foi lau whaftai le komiti. Whapea foi le mamalu le maota maurunga. Whawhetai foi mo le ne ia wanoa wa maua ina ia tātou fisila whai ai au wāle le nema tā upu tā ua. A ve foi au e whai masui e wha malulu atu foi. Malu ave i whale o tau fina ngalo. Pe a whai wo iai se upu o sasi. Pe a whai foi wo iai se manatu o wha leo e le talawhea ngai iai ma tau manatu. Wha malulu watu. Ai whawhitai foi ma ia maua pēr le tau soifua lau le lei. Ai ola pēr ma ua i au auna al malo. Whawhitai.
Ai. Ia, ole iungal nā tātou i loilonga nei tai au, ia se tula ia tātou mōli mau. Ia ona tātou walo le i le mau o wale, whaawawina o tātou ngā luenga, whawhitai lava, ngā sunga loi sili, ia whapea foi le whautua al kovana.